There are times when an automaker gets overlooked in a particular segment. For example, if I asked you what the top compact luxury SUVs were, you would probably mention the Audi Q5, the BMW X3, the Lexus NX, and the Mercedes-Benz GLC. Well, you'd be missing out on one really exciting option. My name is Omar, and today I'm test driving the 2021 Volvo XC60 Recharge. So Volvo has some pretty big ambitions when it comes to the electrification of its future lineup. By 2025, Volvo aims to have 50% of its global sales consist of fully electric vehicles, with the rest being hybrids like the XC60 Recharge here. And then by 2030, Volvo aims to have all of its sales consist of fully electric vehicles and become a brand that will compete with the likes of Tesla. Currently, they only sell one electric vehicle, the XC40 Recharge, and early next year, the XC40 Recharge will get a sleeker looking version called the C40 Recharge. Now, until we get a fully electric version of the XC60, you have this plug-in hybrid version right here, which will give you 19 miles of electric range on a full charge. And even though this is a plug-in hybrid, this isn't slow by any means. That said, let me give you a tour of the 2021 Volvo XC60 Recharge, and then make sure you stick around until the end of my review to get my driving impressions and whether or not if I recommend this over the competition. Make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like. All right, let's do this. Let's hop into it like we usually do by taking a look at all of the cool and interesting things that you should know about the 2021 Volvo XC60 Recharge. All right, so the Volvo XC60 Recharge here is a plug-in hybrid, meaning it does offer some electric-only driving. When fully charged, you'll get a total of 19 miles of electric range. Charging time-wise, Volvo says it takes up to 3 hours to charge from a 240-volt outlet, or you can actually charge it while you're driving it. Just go into the infotainment system and click this button here, and the XC60 will use the engine to charge the battery as you're driving it along. So I totally depleted the battery and I used this feature to recharge it, and I was able to get up to 6 miles, which isn't really that bad because I only drove it around for about 2-3 hours to get to that range. By the way, even though this is a plug-in hybrid SUV, it isn't slow by any means, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so I've tested the S90 Recharge and the XC90 in the past year, so there are a lot of cool things that I've pointed out in those two. I'll link those two reviews in the description below, but let's do a quick rapid fire session covering some of them. I love this little touch of the flag of Sweden in the seats right here. And if you look closely, there's a flag right here on the trim, but it actually serves a purpose because it allows Volvo to make this look like one single line of trim without any cuts or gaps. You get this really cool crystal shifter right here so you can feel rich and powerful. You don't have to walk around and adjust the passenger seat. You can do it right here by clicking this button in the infotainment system and using your seat adjustment controls to control the passenger seat. Pretty dope. Speaking of seats, you have integrated booster seats in the second row, which is really convenient if you're a parent. The infotainment system has a bunch of apps that you can download, including Spotify, Yelp, Google Search, Pandora, Wikipedia, and much more. So you can basically conduct a Google local search right from your infotainment system. You can check out the Yelp reviews of the local restaurants, or you can use Wikipedia to learn more about the cities around you. That's pretty cool. And finally, the Bowers & Wilkins sound system is one of the best on the market. I love this sound system. My favorite setting here is concert hall mode. It sounds absolutely amazing. All right, so how much does the XC60 cost? The base T5 front-wheel drive model costs $41,700. If you want all-wheel drive, you're gonna pay $44,000. Then the T6 all-wheel drive will cost you $47,500, and the Recharge T8 will cost you $53,500. As tested here with a bunch of options, you're looking at $71,340. Now, yes, $71,000 is a lot of money for an XC60, but if you're looking to get into an XC60 and don't care about performance, I would recommend going for the 250 horsepower T5 all-wheel drive Momentum. And if you want a little bit more power, you can simply go for the 316 horsepower T6 all-wheel drive Momentum at $47,500. My test model here is the XC60 Recharge T8 Inscription, which is a really long name. So it's the top of the line trim starting at $61,000. On top of that, my test model gets a bunch of options, including a metallic paint job for $645. You also get 20-inch black alloy wheels for $800, and they look really nice. And then you have the air suspension for $1,800. I highly recommend it because it gives the XC60 a very smooth ride. And then I also have the air quality and air cleaner thing here for $250, so you can breathe fresh, clean air. This test model also has a climate package for $750, and that will give you heated rear seats and a heated steering wheel. And then you have the advanced package for $1,900, which will give you a heads-up display. It will also give you adaptive cruise control, a 360 camera, which looks really cool, And get this package will give you a wireless charger. I don't know why that isn't just standard or a standalone option, but it's here in the package of all driver assist tech. And then yes, the most expensive option is the $3,200 Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which I would highly recommend getting, even though it is a little bit expensive. All right, let's talk horsepower and torque. While this bird chirps on top of my head, power comes from a 2-liter 4-cylinder supercharged and turbocharged engine, mated to an 87 horsepower electric motor, and that's good for 400 horsepower and 472 pound-feet of torque, and that's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, as I said earlier, even though this is a plug-in hybrid, this isn't slow by any means. 0 to 60 comes in at an officially quoted time of 5 seconds flat. I was able to do it in 4.8 seconds, and you have a top speed of 132 miles an hour. Now, when it comes to drive modes, you're working with constant all-wheel drive, pure for electric driving only, hybrid for everyday use, individual where you can set everything to your personal liking, power if you really want to get crazy, and then off-road for rough road. Now, when it comes to fuel economy, you're working with 27 mpg combined and 57 mpg E combined with the whole electric thing. I'm averaging, after a few days of driving, a total of 26.7 miles a gallon, and that's me after idling for a little bit. This morning it said 29 miles a gallon, so that's not bad at all. And again, you have 19 miles of electric range, and you have an 18.5 gallon tank capacity. Now get this, with a full charge and a full tank of gas, you get a total range of 520 miles. That's amazing. All right, let's take a look at the exterior design really quick. Not much has changed for the XC60 since its debut. It looks pretty much the same, and that's not entirely a bad thing. I really like Volvo's new design language, and when you compare the XC60 to the rest of the segment, including the Audi Q5, the BMW X3, and the Mercedes-Benz GLC, I think that the XC60 stands out with a simple, elegant design. To me, it's a little bit more exciting than the Q5 and the X3. And of course, I love the Thor hammer inspired headlamps because I'm a huge fan of the Avengers and Marvel overall, and the taillights here are pretty stylish as well. But I do wish that Volvo would do some cool animations like most luxury car brands are doing these days. Let's check out the cargo capacity before we move on. You can pop the trunk by using a button located right under the L, or you can do the whole kick to open the trunk from right here somewhere. I haven't figured it out. Let's see. There it goes. And that opens it up to 21 cubic feet behind the second row. And with the second row folded, you have a massive 49 cubic feet. So it's pretty nice. Now let's hop inside. And again, just like the outside, no major upgrades here on the inside. If you've been in a Volvo XC60 in the past few years, you'll feel right at home. Nonetheless, there is definitely something to be said about Volvo's interior design and quality. In terms of design, the interior of the XC60 is elegant yet simple. There isn't much pizzazz, but that gives the materials used in this cabin a chance to stand out. Now, my test model is the top of the line Inscription model, so everything in here is wrapped in leather. Even the doors, even the areas where you wouldn't expect, the lower areas of the doors are wrapped in leather. It's really nice. Even the back doors, the lower areas there are wrapped in leather. It feels really nice. And yeah, my test model being the Inscription gets Nappa leather all over, including the dash, and then you also have some really nice stitching and this really cool wood trim. You also get beautiful Nappa leather seats that are actually heated and cooled as standard as a part of the Inscription trim. The heated steering wheel along with heated rear seats are optional. Now let's hop in the back and check out the rear legroom. You have a total of 38 inches of legroom back here. I'm about 6 foot tall. I sit further back than the normal human being should. And as you can see, I still have plenty of room. Tech-wise, you're working with a digital gauge cluster display, not much craziness going on here. And then you have a 9-inch touchscreen display that houses the Volvo Sensus infotainment system. The Inscription trim gets navigation as standard. You also get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, so you're pretty much set there. Now, moving forward, new Volvo models will start getting a new infotainment system that was developed in partnership with Google. Now, before I give you my opinion on how it is to drive the XC60 Recharge, let me point out a few random things that I'll have to show all of you. You have 4 cup holders, 2 in the front for the front passengers, and then you have 2 in the back in the center armrest for the rear passengers. That would have been a dope place for a wireless charger, but whatever. Here are what the keys look like to the Volvo XC60 Recharge, or any other Volvo for that matter. I love Volvo keys. They look really cool. You don't get remote start though. Door open and close sound from the outside. No soft closed doors here, by the way. From the outside and from the inside. Charging game wise, you do have a wireless charger if you go for the advanced package, and it's hidden right there. You also get 2 USB ports right here. No USB-C ports, unfortunately. Rear passengers, unfortunately, get no USB ports at all. They just get a household outlet right there. So make sure you bring your cube with you. And of course, we have to do an indicator and horn sound test here on the 2021 Volvo XC60 T8 Recharge. Indicator first. Pretty nice. Now for the horn sound, let me just lower my window, and Here we go. Oh yeah, pretty solid. Let's talk about how this thing drives. Let's do it. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2021 Volvo XC60 Recharge, let me give you my opinion on how it drives. All right, let's get to it. So the Volvo XC60 itself competes with the likes of the Acura RDX, the Audi Q5, the BMW X3, the Lexus NX, the Mercedes-Benz GLC, and the upcoming Genesis GV70. The Recharge here specifically goes head-to-head with the Audi SQ5, the BMW X3 M40i, and the Mercedes-AMG GLC 43. Now, all of them hang out in the same price range of the XC60 Recharge, which starts at $53,500, and all of them also have a similar 0 to 60 time in the high 4-second range. But what makes the XC60 Recharge a little bit more of a compelling option than the rest of the segment is that it's the only one that will give you the option of a plug-in hybrid with a fully electric range of 19 miles, which isn't really that bad for just cruising around town. Now, like I said earlier, with a full tank of gas and with a full charge of the battery, you get a total range of 520 miles, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. As a daily driver, this thing is very comfortable, but make sure you go for that air suspension option because otherwise the XC60, like other Volvos, can have a bit of a harsh ride. As a performance option, this thing is pretty impressive. Yes, it may not be as dynamic or theatrical as the competition, but it will definitely keep up with them. And not to mention, not all of the options in this segment are trying to be true performance cars. They're just trying to give you some edge. All that said, there will be shoppers in this segment that won't give the Volvo XC60 a second look, and sadly, they'll be missing out. Honestly, every time somebody asks me about my top pick for a compact luxury SUV or a luxury SUV, I always put the XC60 and the XC90 as one of the top choices to consider. Why? Well, it's not because I want them to feel unique instead of buying one of the obvious choices. It's because everything in these two SUVs is really well thought out and it's very simple yet very elegant. Volvo isn't trying to be extremely fancy. They're just sticking in their own lane and doing their own thing, which I guess is the definition of being unique. But still, this is one outstanding compact luxury SUV. And if you're in the market for a compact luxury SUV with a little bit of performance, definitely give the XC60 Recharge here a test drive because I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Yes, the BMW X3 M40i is probably, in my opinion, the most sportiest option here, but this is very comparable to the Audi SQ5 and the GLC 43 AMG. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace. I really like Volvo as a brand. They're doing great things. Good luck with the whole electrification thing.